For more on the turmoil in Turkey and its economic impact, we're joined by Saruhan Hatipoglu. He's the CCTV Global Economics Analyst and the CEO at Barry. How are you? Welcome.
Good, Susan. How are you?
Happy New Year.
You too.
2016, what a rough year, marked by the terror attacks, the attempted military coup. Will Turkey move away from the West and more towards Russia? I think that's the one question on a lot of people's mind.
Exactly, and it will depend on two things, one of which is the Trump presidency. How will they approach Turkey? How do they see what's happening in Turkey? And we don't know much about that, except to say that it will probably be better for Turks than a Hillary Clinton presidency, because we know the tug of war that has taken place with the Kurds, with the PKK and all that, with the US and Turkey. But it will depend on the Trump administration's attitude. Also, the EU, as you know, the European Parliament voted vehemently, the 479 to 34, if I'm not mistaken, on freezing negotiations to admit Turkey into the EU. And that has really turned almost every Turk against the EU, and Russia is taking advantage of it. I think this is a good opportunity for China as well to come in and form an investment unit with Russia. Even Iran is in the picture now. So it's going to be an interesting year, 2017.
So what about being an important NATO ally?
Well, that's certainly an issue, but I think Turkey is going to use that card to get EU to do what it wants. Look, I mean, it has been, this negotiations has been going on since 1963. So I do criticize Turkey a little bit in failing on the reform process, but the European Union has not been that warm to Turkish membership. And I think NATO is something that also, we're going back to the United States again, Mr. Trump doesn't look too fondly upon. So we're going to see how this new administration in the US will approach these issues for me to say, you know, this is where Turkey is going in 2017.
Is a lot of this sort of self-imposed by Erdogan, that he has really angered many people over his handling of the attempted military coup?
Partially. I was in Cambridge for a conference on Turkey about 3 weeks ago, and I got to talk to somebody from the president's office who's high up, and she told me about the Gulen, the parallel structure, what has been happening in Turkey. Some of the things that I heard were devastating in terms of how the government was unable to locate this group and take care of it. But at the end of the day, this has given Mr. Erdogan, President Erdogan, an opportunity to crack down on opposition. We're seeing this more and more in journalism, in media, and business. It's taking place all around the country, and that is something that foreign investors are really, really worried about.
So now let's talk about the economy. Now there are security concerns there. Tourism is down.
Absolutely. Tourism is down, and this Russian boost has not come to have an immediate impact on it. Look, real GDP, we just heard 1.8% contraction. We're seeing inflation numbers high up. Lira is losing value. Susan, savings ratio is 14% of GDP, which is one of the lowest in emerging markets. Household debt to GDP has exceeded 22% last year. It's going to be around that for this year. And that was only 10% 7 years ago. So we do have some economic problems in Turkey, immediate ones.
Right. What about investment long term? Are people skeptical about this because of the attempted coup?
Absolutely. Foreign direct investment, look, it was 22 billion in 2008, 16.8 last year, 3.5 billion in the first 5 months of this year. That's 40% lower than the same time last year. Portfolio investment, almost 10 billion left the economy last year. That is worse than the crisis in 2001 and 2008. Now we're seeing more and more money leaving, or capital leaving Turkey. So, and Turkey is dependent on foreign investors coming in. And therefore, it is going to be a very difficult time, especially in the first 3 months of the year. We'll see what will happen, but I'm not too optimistic about it.
All right, so we were talking about President-elect Trump coming in. A lot of this depends on how his relationship with the economy depends on how his relationship with Turkey shapes up. Let's factor in Russia and China to this.
Well, look, there's a great opportunity for Turkey, Russia, and China to get together. We've seen it just yesterday with Russia in Iran and Turkey talking about peace in Syria. The United States was excluded from that. We're seeing Turkish President Erdogan saying that we are seriously thinking about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization with China, with those 6 countries altogether. So Turkey is looking at this as an opportunity to improve its ties with China and Russia. And what is unknown is the Trump card. We're waiting to see what he's going to do. If Trump administration takes negative measures against Turkey, supports EU in this freezing of negotiations with the EU, then I believe Turkey is going to move more onto that part. But I think there are really smart people in that administration that are coming in that know the region, and they will advise Mr. Trump for him to understand that Turkey is a critical Western ally and needs to be so.
All right, Saruhan Hatipoglu, great to see you. Thank you. We
Pleasure to be
appreciate
here.
it.